I put my father in a memory care facility because I thought he had dementia. It started small. My dad forgot he'd called me Tuesday morning. When I mentioned it Wednesday, he looked confused. I didn't call you yesterday. Dad, you called at 8:47 a.m. We talked for 11 minutes. He shook his head. You're remembering wrong. The next week, he got lost driving to Costco, a place he'd been going to for 19 years. Police found him 2 hours later sitting in a Walmart parking lot, completely disoriented. My stomach dropped when the officer called. Sir, your father seems confused about where he is. I picked him up. He was quiet the whole drive home. When we pulled into his driveway, he said, when did they paint the house blue? It had been blue since 2011. Doctor appointments followed, cognitive tests, memory assessments. Nothing conclusive, but the doctor said, early signs are often subtle. Monitor him closely. I started visiting daily. Each time, something new was wrong. He'd forget whether he'd eaten breakfast, leave the stove on, wear the same shirt 3 days straight without noticing. Then came the paranoia. Someone's stealing from me, he'd say. Going through my things while I sleep. I checked. Nothing was missing. Dad, everything's here. No. Someone was in my bedroom. I know it. The worst part was watching him struggle to remember my name. He'd look at me with such concentration, like he was trying to solve a puzzle. I'm sorry, he'd whisper. I know I should know you. My hands shook every time I left his house. This was my father, the man who taught me to ride a bike, who never missed a soccer game. Now he couldn't remember if he'd taken his pills. I hired a home health aide through Bright Care Services. Her name was Sarah. She seemed perfect, patient, kind, great reviews. 2 weeks later, my dad called me crying. She's poisoning me. The coffee tastes wrong. Please, you have to believe me. Dad, Sarah's there to help you. No, she's doing something to the coffee. I can taste it. The doctor said paranoia was common with cognitive decline. Accusations against caregivers happened frequently. Patients often believed loved ones were conspiring against them. My dad's decline sped up after that. He couldn't remember how to unlock his front door, got confused about what year it was, started calling me by my brother's name, even though I don't have a brother. I made the call I'd been dreading. Maple Grove Memory Care had an opening, $8,300 a month. I signed the papers with my vision blurred. The day we moved him in, he grabbed my arm. Please don't leave me here. Sarah's been stealing. I hid cameras. Check the cameras. I patted his hand. There are no cameras, Dad. But his eyes were so desperate, so certain. After I got him settled, I went back to his house to pack his belongings. I was in his bedroom when I noticed something behind the bookshelf, a small black device with a red recording light. My heart stopped. I pulled it out. A wireless security camera, battery powered, the kind you hide. I checked the brand, Night Owl. I found 3 more. One in the kitchen, one in the living room, one in the hallway. My hands wouldn't stop shaking as I logged into the app on my dad's iPad. The password was my birthday. 63 days of footage. I started with the most recent, 7:42 a.m. Sarah entering the kitchen. My dad's still asleep. She opened the cabinet, took out his coffee grounds, pulled a pill bottle from her purse, crushed 3 white tablets with a spoon, stirred the powder into the grounds, put everything back. I couldn't breathe. I scrolled back further. Different dates, same routine. Sometimes pills in the coffee, sometimes in his orange juice, always while he slept. August 14th, Sarah going through his desk, opening the checkbook, forging his signature on a check made out to herself, $3,400. August 9th, Sarah pocketing his wallet from the counter. July 28th, Sarah searching his bedroom, taking his mother's ring from the jewelry box. I called the police from his driveway, showed them everything. Sarah was arrested that afternoon, prosecuted for elder abuse, theft, and assault. The pills were Ambien, enough to cause confusion, memory loss, disorientation, everything that looked like dementia. My dad came home from Maple Grove 2 weeks later. His mind cleared like fog lifting. The first thing he said was, I told you about the cameras.